Hey, welcome. Today we have a show for you that you need to see. Our guest has been a guest here before. She is an incredible mother, teacher, author. My name is Vin Dacquino. Our guest today is the amazing Jennifer Degl. Jennifer, what a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
You are a treat. You are a woman with a passion. Talk to me a bit about your first book was From Hope to Joy. And joy is not a word that you picked carelessly. Joy is the name of your daughter. And it's the name of the feeling that you had when this premature baby fought and made it into a wonderful young lady. Jennifer, talk to me a little bit about the first book, and then we'll talk about your brand new book.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here.
My first book is really about two things, my pregnancy with my daughter and then her delivery. She was born very, very premature, but leading up to that was a very high-risk and life-threatening pregnancy. And
so you had a decision to make.
We did. It was excruciating.
Frightening.
Very frightening. I had 3 little boys at home at the time that were 3, 5, and 7 years old. And I had a condition which was called placenta precreta. We didn't know it had advanced that much at the time, but it was serious. And I was very much in and out of the hospital, mostly in for 6 weeks with blood transfusions and being stuck in a hospital bed. And if I was home for a few days, it was on very strict bed rest.
Yeah.
So that was excruciating, mentally really difficult to not really be a part of your family with your other children and their activities. And
yeah, I mean,
and
you've got
frankly,
3 kids at home. God knows what they're doing, all boys.
Yeah, right. And not knowing if I would survive. I mean, we hoped and we tried our best, and so it was very stressful.
To wonder what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And then you have this baby. Now, how premature were you?
So she was born about 4 months early. She was only 23 weeks gestation, which is very close to the viability. And really it was at the time, 6 years ago. Yeah. She was 1 pound and 4 ounces.
Oh,
barely, almost transparent, really, she was, like her skin and everything. And she
1 pound, 4 ounces.
Yeah. And she was only 11 3/4 inches long. So not even as long as a ruler. Very, very, like half the length of my other kids, basically.
Yeah. Wow.
So after my surgeries and the healing I had to do, we had a very long road with her, and she spent 121 days, a little over 4 months, in the NICU.
You have this baby, and now you're home, but she isn't.
That's one of the worst things for a parent.
Oh my God! Especially, it's a terrible thing for a parent to be separated, but to be separated and know that she's in danger.
Yeah. It was excruciating for everybody, including my 3 boys, at the time. And she was at the Maria Freire Children's Hospital at Westchester Medical Center. So we knew she was getting excellent care, and she did.
That's a wonderful hospital.
It's phenomenal, and they did a great job with her. And it was, I would say, for the first 6 weeks of her life, it was very, we didn't know. We didn't know if she would survive. And I didn't even get to see her myself for several days because of my complications. And a lot of it you didn't deal with until after. So that's really where the book came from, because I started to journal, because very often when I'm sitting there next to her, she was in a plastic container, like an isolate or an incubator, and I didn't even get to touch her or hold her for a month.
It
was awful.
And that's important for a baby too, to have that
100%. Yeah.
But you are 110% mother, so I'm sure you made up for that many times.
Try your best, And so what I did was I just started to journal. And the journals stayed with me, and I wrote in them every day about what, her accomplishments or setbacks and what was going on and how I felt. And then after she came home, I read the journals. And I realized this could be beneficial if other parents going through it had something similar to
Because what goes on in your head and your heart during all that time, the fears that you go through.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. When my son was about maybe 3 years old, he had pneumonia, and it was pretty bad. And I was standing by the stretcher. The doctors were all around, and one of the doctors said, "We need to draw blood." And my son said, "Daddy, don't leave me." And I said, "I'm staying right here," and I'm holding his hand, and the doctor said, "Get rid of him." And my son was yelling, "No, no." And then they brought him into a room. I had to stand outside that door and hear him yelling, "Daddy, why did you leave me?" I was like destroyed.
Yeah.
And it was what a horrendous feeling. Helpless. It was just helpless. So I could imagine what it must have been for you. The only good side is everything else is uphill after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's doing fabulous today. She just turned 6 years
she's a
old.
wonderful little girl.
She has a few complications from her, very
She's
premature
even
birth.
going to be like a little bit of a star.
She is.
Tell me about that. We're skipping ahead, but
Yeah, no, that's okay. We just
Yep.
we're honored. She's going to be the ambassador to the 2018 Go the Distance Walk for Maria Freire Children's Hospital. So she'll get to cut the ribbon and lead the walk, and she's
she'll
very
be the star.
excited. Yeah.
Well, she deserves to be the star. She is a survivor at the highest of levels.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. So you've been going through this, and also for that first book, you have been sort of a spokesman for mothers of premature babies.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about some of the work you've been doing for these mothers.
Well, what I realized was there wasn't a lot out there at the time as far as support goes for moms with high-risk pregnancy and for parents of preemies. And there's been quite a lot of work since then, but even 6 years ago, there wasn't a lot. So I turned into an advocate. Really what the goal was to just spread awareness. So my background is I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for 20 years, so education is very important to me. And I realized a lot of these mothers weren't educated, and families educated about the high-risk pregnancies, what could lead to a high-risk pregnancy, how you could prevent them, how to handle them. And there wasn't a lot of, mental health support for these moms and families that were going through that. And then in the same respect for the parents of preemies, there wasn't a lot out there to help the parents. And quite frankly, you're very much focused on your baby at the time. So you as a mother,
I guess.
you don't even register, on your own radar as being important, but you still have needs that need to be addressed and a lot of issues that you have to deal with. So that's why I sort of became an advocate. And I've been in DC a couple of times. I spoke to the House of Representatives and the Senate introducing bills to help
and then,
with this kind of
in all
situation.
of this, you are a full-time teacher.
I am,
and an outstanding teacher. I mean,
thanks.
there are kids out there, sing your praises always.
You're sweet.
Must be difficult because you have to look out there at them, believe in them, work with them, and do what you need to do, and yet your mind and your heart is on your daughter and your other 3 kids.
Yeah.
So you have a busy life.
It's busy, but it's important to educate everybody. And all of those students who I love, and I love my job, they're going to be in the world very soon, and I think it's good for them to know that there's people out there advocating what you can do to better the world.
After the first book, I did the career day at the school, and I had a little video there on our last show.
Yeah.
I had on the computer. Well, the kids all gathered around, and the things they had to say about you were just, you are a wonderful example of what these kids need to grow up and be. So as a mother, as a teacher, as an advocate, so after all of this, and after creating this book and going out there, you decided you were going to do it again and write another book.
Yeah.
So tell me about Stuck in Bed.
So the first part of my first book was about my pregnancy, which many of the weeks I was in a hospital bed or in my house. And as I said before, it was really challenging to do, to be removed from your family and watch them kind of live their lives without you. And I realized that I wanted to do something for the other members of the family because I'm not the only person out there that had other children while I'm stuck in the bed. So I wrote this children's book because I wanted to be able to support the other siblings in a family of a mom who's on bed rest. My younger son was 3 and he really had a difficult time, not understanding why I couldn't jump out of bed and help him. And We had to be all kinds of creative with things to do in my bed that we could still make his life somewhat normal. So that's where this book came from. I wrote it several years ago, and then I was able to connect with mom, Angela Davids, who runs a website called Keep 'Em Cookin', which I used a lot when I was on bed rest. And together we created this book as a resource for families. And it's really a children's book for young kids that are dealing with their mom.
They get to understand what it's like.
Yeah.
There was a wonderful book, and I know you know, or knew, Sean Callahan.
Yeah.
Well, Sean wrote a wonderful book called Don't Give Up. And that book reminds me a lot of your book, where it was really a hands-on. It was what you were going to see when you were in there. And he really wanted to show people, especially kids, don't get terrified. You're going to see machines that are going to scare the daylights out of you. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So your book kind of does that too. It kind of puts kids at ease. Sometimes we forget that as adults, we look at what the kids might be thinking. Truth is, they have a whole lot less years behind them, so they don't understand some of the things that you have been able to come to deal with, about what it's like to be in that bed. For me, I go nuts because I can't be in a bedridden, when I know there's so many other things that have to be done. And you already, you have the other kids at home, you have your husband, you have your students, you have the whole rest of the world. I think of Sean because I think, don't give up.
Yeah.
You have to just keep moving forward. And there's times when you just like, I can't do this. And I can imagine that it's terrifying. So you got together. Now tell me about this, you're the co-author.
Angela.
Angela.
She runs, it's called Keep 'Em Cookin', and the website's keepemcookin.com, and it's a website to support moms that are on bed rest during pregnancy. And I sort of met her after using her website, and we became friends, and I said to her, I have these ideas, I wrote this children's book. Yeah. So she came on board immediately. We met at an event in Maryland, and so all of the text is like a mother talking to her kids and her child asking questions to the mother about what it's like, what can we still do in your bed, and why are you in bed? Do you have yucky germs that you can spread? And
that's important too, because you have to have a purpose while you're in that bed. You have to do something other than think.
Yeah.
Because the thinking kills you, you know? You're sitting there saying, I should be doing this, and I should be doing that, and but there are things you can be doing that are important and useful and effective.
Yeah.
What are some of the things? Talk to me about some of the things that Stuck in Bed tells mothers to do.
So at the bottom of every page, it's called Tips for Moms. So although you're reading it to your child, you're the person reading it to your child. So there's a tip on the bottom of every single page, and some of them have different conversations you can have with your children, different kinds of games that you can play in the bed very well, different activities you can still do with your children from your bed, so they have some sense of normalcy.
Can you give us a little taste?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can read you a section of it. We have great news, my parents said. Come over here and sit on the bed. We're having a baby, my mommy said. I got so excited that my face turned red. And then on the bottom of that page, there's a little tip that says, although you may be having concerns about the future of your pregnancy, try to stay positive around your child. Every child reacts differently to a pregnancy announcement, from excitement to jealousy to indifference. So don't read too much into their first response.
Nice. So it's really kind of a double book. It's by and for kids and for mothers, so that it's really both.
It's both. It's a rhyming picture book to help your child or children understand why you're in bed and try to make it less scary for them. Yeah. And then there's tips on every page to give the mom some ideas to let it be easier to explain to their child and to hopefully have a smooth transition.
And the overall message is you need to be in that bed.
Yeah. Stay in your bed if that's your doctor's
orders. It's so tempting.
Orders. Yeah.
I know. I did the same thing, you want to get out of that bed. You want to get out there and do what you're supposed to do. but you're in danger. You can't do that. So you have to say to yourself, look, this is the situation, deal with it, make the most of it, and do what you can from that bed.
Yes.
All right, sounds terrific. Talk to me about the kids. How did the other kids handle all of this? I mean, they're still handling it.
Yeah. No, they're very supportive. And at the
Yeah.
time, the older two remember well still.
Yeah. And you
me
have to
being
have
on bed
faith.
rest.
You have to have faith in the fact that these kids
Yeah.
can do it, and you have to believe in them
Yeah.
because I imagine the first instinct. I know, as a father, first instinct as a mother is they're not going to be able to do this without
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I need to be there,
Yeah.
but you have to let go a little bit
Yes.
and say they can do it. They can do it. And guiding them to do it, giving them guidelines to do it is a good thing.
Well, I think, mental health is in the spotlight right now very recently for some sad reasons. And we all have to remember that we have to take care of ourselves
Yes.
mentally, and we have to take care of our children. And I think being open and honest to the degree they can handle, of course, depending on their age, is important. So we address some of that too. That's important to keep the conversations open and explain to them and try to include them.
Right.
Well, the children feel excluded. When you're in the hospital and they can't participate, and even when my daughter was in the NICU for 4 months, they were only able to come a couple of times because of the wires and the germs they may be carrying in, and the other babies can't be exposed to that. So you really, to the best that you can, try to involve them, and there's lots of ideas in both books that can help you include the other children that you may have into the family so they don't feel neglected.
So you're trying to make your life as normal as possible.
Yeah, that's all you
in
can
a not
hope
normal
for.
situation.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about some of the organizations that you've been supporting. I know you do a lot of public speaking. You're out there in the lights. Tell me about some of those organizations that you support.
Well, I'm a very proud member of the Preemie Parent Alliance, and it's an organization of mostly premature parents and other organizations and nonprofits that all come together.
Preemie Parents Alliance.
Preemie Parents Alliance. Yeah, it's a fabulous organization that gets all of the leaders of
Now, is this
nonprofits.
national or local?
It is national.
Wow,
Yeah,
national.
we have
Wonderful.
members from many states. I think over 20, 25, 26 states.
Wow.
We'd like it to be more. But it's really a great resource because an average parent of a premature baby can go online and view different activities that you can do in your area, can get support, mentoring. We have a lot of preemie parent mentors that can even do virtual support.
Yeah. Sometimes just having the right person to talk with is important.
100%. You need someone
Yeah.
that walked in your shoes, and,
Yeah.
and that's what we try to offer. And we also do a lot of advocate work. I'm also on the International Neonatal Consortium, which is it's international. It's all over, and we do mostly legislative work. So we try to push for bills that will help both the premature babies and maternal health in general for pregnant moms and families.
Now, you have a website. If we can get that website so that we can just see if people want to get involved, they don't have to be the mother of a preemie.
No.
You need everybody.
Yeah.
There's a website, www.speakingformomsandbabies.com.
So that's my organization. I just started that myself. And
Wow, so you're the founder.
I'm the founder,
Wow,
and the
wonderful.
goal is to advocate for both maternal health and neonatal health. So I go
So,
and speak
so
at events.
really, any expectant mother
Oh, for sure.
should be involved in this.
Yeah, if you're,
What do you need people to do?
I think really if you're thinking of starting a family or you already have started a family, just to be educated. Like I said, my mission is education, and I really believe that the more you know, the better choices you can make, both with childbirth and, family planning. And then, of course, unfortunately, if you end up having a high-risk pregnancy or a premature birth, it's nice to know a little bit about it beforehand.
Yes.
This way, you can make the best choices.
Yeah, that's good thinking. And so your book is out there,
Yes.
and it's highly recommended for both children and mothers. And the message is clear. Try to live as normal of a life as you can, but be aware of the things that you need to be aware of.
Yeah. Education.
Sounds terrific. So where are you off to? Do you have anything big that we should know about? Any kind of event or anything that we're doing for
Well, the next big event would be September 16th is the Go the Distance Walk for Maria Frere Children's Hospital. We have a very large team. We raise a lot of money, and that is very important to our family because they provide services not only for the sick child, but for the whole family to make it a good experience.
So what is that event about?
It's for Maria Frere Children's Hospital at Westchester Medical Center.
Now, is that the one where they do the radiothon?
Yes.
Yeah. When I was working in Pelham, I used to listen to that constantly. The Maria Frere Hospital was wonderful for me when I was doing my book on diabetes. Mm-hmm. And I went there and said, would you be willing to help me? And they said, absolutely. They let me go through the hospital. They even let me go on rounds. I don't know.
Well, they're a teaching hospital with very much the same missions to educate. Yeah.
Yep, and to educate and to get the word out to know. I called the diabetes a special kind of normal. And sometimes we have to realize that life throws things our way. And we have to be a special kind of normal. When Jimmy James, in my first book, Kiss the Candy Days Goodbye, finds out that he has diabetes, the doctor tells him that he is going to have to do certain things to live. Not to live well, to live. That he would have to have injections, and he's going to have to be careful about his diet, be careful about all those things. And he says, I don't want to be different. And she said, sometimes we're going to be different. It's what we do with that difference that will make all the difference in the world. We're all different in one way or another. And we have to learn how to make that difference work. So in your case, there's another life involved. It's not only the mother, it's the baby too. And it has to be a very fearful thing to know that your child is at risk. And at that point, it is your child. And for you, a fourth child. So it's like amazing. So you've been on a real long, rough road, but it has amounted to an advocate for mothers out there who need to be at ease a little bit. And that's what your books do. So From Hope to Joy is a wonderful book. In that book, there's some very specific points you make to mothers. What are they?
I think as a parent on the high risk pregnancy side, you have to make the best decision that's right for you. And
sometimes you need others like you.
Yeah.
You need to listen to advocates. Yeah. You need to listen to other people. And you need to read good books like From Hope to Joy. Yeah.
And even parents of preemies, I mean, we're very lucky. We had a long road, but my daughter is here today. That's not the case for a lot of premature
Some people
babies.
Actually do. And I hate to even bring this up, but I mean, sometimes parents are faced with the fact where they're told, it's you or the baby.
Yeah.
And you have to make a tough decision.
Yeah.
You made the right decision. Sometimes it is life-threatening.
Yeah.
And the wrong decision could result in the loss of.
And that's where the education comes in. If you're very educated, you can make it the best decision.
And you have to listen to the doctor, but you have to also listen to your heart, and you have to make sure you're doing the right thing. Your choice is not the only choice.
Right.
For you, it was the best choice.
I think for parents, too, they're not alone, and I want to kind of spread that message that other people, it's not the same exact road. Nobody has the same exact road.
Nobody has the same situation.
But there are some similar roads, and it's nice to be able to reach out to somebody or read a story about someone that experienced something similar. And then you can use all of that knowledge to help you make your decisions, too. And like I said before, a lot of the premature babies don't survive for a lot of different issues. There's a lot of babies that are in the NICU that were born full term, but with very severe medical issues too. They're not only premature babies in the NICU, but the NICU is the NICU, and many experiences are shared.
Yeah, and it isn't just a matter of whether the child is going to live, but whether the child is going to be able to live a life of quality.
Life. Sure.
And and that you're right. There could be complications, and we could be looking at a very difficult, long, hard life for a child. So it's not just a matter of surviving; it's a matter of surviving well.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult.
And there's a lot of information out there, and a lot of organizations. The Morgan Leary Vaughn Fund is another
Now I want
organization.
you to slow down, and I want you to say that slowly, because we have about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
And I know you have some shout-outs you want to do.
Oh, sure.
So go for it.
Okay. So the Morgan Leary Vaughn Fund is an organization that supports a disease called necrotizing enterocolitis. And my daughter did not have that disease, luckily, but a lot of babies do. So I'm a board of director member of that organization, and the Premier Parent Alliance is very important to us. They do a lot of advocacy work. So if you are struggling with a high-risk pregnancy or had a premature baby, please either visit my website, speakingformomsandbabies.com, or visit the Premier Parent Alliance.org, and then you can get a lot of information there that can help you.
Wonderful. And read From Hope to Joy.
Please do. Yes.
And Stuck in Bed.
Yes. They're both on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Wonderful.
As well.
I cannot thank you enough for being here. Keep doing what you're doing. I give you all the credit in the world. You are a woman of strength. You are a wonderful example for our children, parents, infants. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for being who you are. And thank you for tuning in today and having a chance to hear Jennifer Degl, From Hope to Joy, Stuck in Bed. 2 wonderful books. Get over to the library and read them. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being part of us.